Ever wonder why you can't walk to Animal Kingdom from the Animal Kingdom Lodge, or why the Contemporary is so close to Magic Kingdom? How about whether or not you should even stay at a Disney resort? We're explaining it all today on DFV Guide. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog. We are continuing to dig into those questions you've always had about Disney World, but didn't want to ask. Today, it's all about hotels. From weird construction techniques, to why some resorts connect to each other and others don't, to one of our all-time favorite topics is Nightmare Nanny chairs at the Boardwalk Inn. Let's dive in and start explaining Disney World hotels. First up, why is the Contemporary so close to the Magic Kingdom? Well, the Contemporary is the very first hotel that opened in Disney World. It opened with the Magic Kingdom on October 1st, 1971. It was actually designed to be a little more integrated with the park, in fact. In the original concept art, the hotel was actually going to connect right to Tomorrowland, which is why it's one of the closest hotels to any of the parks in Disney World. The Contemporary isn't visible from any land in Magic Kingdom except for Tomorrowland. It's futuristic enough to blend in with the scenery, so Imagineers actually made it a focal point of the land. And the bridge from Main Street to Tomorrowland is much wider than the other lands and has an unobstructed view of the Contemporary. There were actually supposed to be two resorts nearly as close to the Magic Kingdom as the Contemporary is today. A Mediterranean and Persian hotel were developed as concepts and would be located on either side of the Contemporary and connected by a monorail. The oil embargoes of the 1970s meant that the construction was halted on more large-scale hotels at Disney World, and the Contemporary and Polynesian would be the only Disney hotels on property until 1988. Speaking of the Polynesian, why are some buildings at the Polynesian different sizes? Well, the Contemporary and Polynesian resorts were an experiment in hotel building for WED Enterprises, which is of course the official company name of the Imagineering department at the time. WED, by the way, stands for Walter Elias Disney. The basic structure of the resort was assembled on site, but the rooms were built 3 miles off-site and trucked in to be placed into the structure. Off-site, they added all the plumbing, electrical, even carpeting, and wallpaper. At the Poly, the rooms were stacked, and then hallways were built around them to make the rest of the building, which isn't quite the norm on how you build hotels, but it meant that they were able to complete 7 rooms a day, allowing them to complete construction in 6 months. The resort expanded in 1978 and 1985, and there were a number of test rooms to try out new layouts. These were built on site as Disney didn't have a crazy construction deadline to meet this time around. Because of these new layouts, some of the buildings have wider hallways, and the rooms are actually a few feet longer. You'll find these in the Moorea and Pago Pago buildings. These are now deluxe studios and part of the DVC rooms at the hotel. With that extra room, you get 2 bathrooms, one with a shower tub combo and one with a walk-in shower. Now, why can't I walk between Animal Kingdom Lodge and Animal Kingdom Theme Park? Well, they're not actually located back to back. The Contemporary is closer to Magic Kingdom than Animal Kingdom Lodge is to Animal Kingdom, even though they share a name. The Legends Golf Course at Orange Lake is actually closer to the savannah in the park than the resort is to the park. Animal Kingdom Lodge is only about a 5-minute bus ride though, so they are close, but bus is the only free transportation offered by Disney between Animal Kingdom and Animal Kingdom Lodge, so you'll most likely spend a lot longer waiting for the bus than actually riding. The savannas at the resort don't connect to the park either. They're completely separate. Animals at the resort have their own nighttime shelters, and there are actually 4 different savannas with different animals on each at the resort. Animal Kingdom Lodge has 4 savannas and 45 acres of space for the animals. Not all rooms at the resort have a savanna view, but it is a category you can book, and you can book a standard view room and make a request to stay on the zebra trail, and you may end up with an obstructed savanna view, which is still considered a standard room, but much better than a parking lot view. The Sunset, Arusha, and Uzima savannas surround the original building Jambo House, while the 4th smaller savanna, Pembe, is located on the north side of Kidani Village. And yes, there are 2 sections to the resort. Jambo House and Kidani Village are 2 separate hotels that make up Animal Kingdom Lodge. Jambo opened in 2001, Kidani in 2007. Both have Disney Vacation Club rooms, but Kidani is specifically a DVC resort. And along with more unique room setups, like 1 and 2 bedroom units with full kitchens, DVC resorts offer other amenities like pool tables, tennis, and basketball courts available to guests. You can walk between the 2 buildings or take an internal shuttle, which is a passenger van that picks up guests just outside the lobbies. It's about a 10-minute walk through the parking lot, so not necessarily a nice walk, but they're close if you want to resort hop to check out some new restaurants. All right, speaking of DVC, what is a Disney Vacation Club resort? Since we've brought up a Disney Vacation Club resort, there's a crash course in case you've seen that term floating around while planning your trip and aren't too sure what it is. Disney Vacation Club is basically a Disney timeshare, but you aren't locked into a single property. You can stay at any hotel that's part of the program, including hotels at Disneyland and around the world. You can take trips with Adventures by Disney or stay at Disney's beach resorts like Aulani and Hilton Head. When you buy into the Vacation Club, you buy a share at a, quote, home resort, unquote. This determines your buy-in rate and how many Vacation Club points you get each year. Those points are what you exchange for future stays at Disney properties. Rooms have different rates depending on the resort, room category, and the season that you're traveling. You're also able to book a stay at your home resort further in advance at 11 months out, giving you first dibs as you can only book at resorts that aren't your home resort 7 months out. Now, you don't have to buy into the Disney Vacation Club in order to stay in those rooms. Disney Vacation Club rooms are different than standard rooms at Disney. There are studio rooms with kitchenettes, as well as larger 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units with full kitchens. Some have an in-unit laundry, so they're more like a condo than a hotel room. You can book these rooms directly through Disney without being a Disney Vacation Club member. They're referred to as villas on the Disney World website, and you can often use room discounts for these villa rooms. Or if you want to save some more money, you can rent Vacation Club rooms. We recommend David's DVC Rental. They organize the Vacation Club members who want to rent their points and help you through the process of booking, so it's nearly as simple and safe as booking directly through Disney. Now, I recommend David's DVC Rental because they do a really excellent job. They're really thoughtful. They've been doing this for a very long time. So even though renting DVC points can be kind of scary and it can be dangerous if you're not doing it through a reputable agency, they do an awesome job. And I love the person who runs it. She's so great. She's David's daughter. Her name is Melissa, and she's amazing. Okay, next question. Why do Pop Century and Art of Animation connect? These two resorts don't seem to have much in common, but they connect via bridge, which is now where you'll catch the Skyliner, though that bridge has connected the two resorts for a lot longer than that. Originally, the Art of Animation site was supposed to become the Legendary Years, another section of Pop Century Resort. The resort now features sections from the 1950s through the 1990s, these are the classic years, but the Legendary Years were supposed to be the 1900s through the 1940s, and they'd be located across the lake and connected by the Generation Gap Bridge. They broke ground in 1999 and started construction on both sides of the lake, but then 9/11 happened and construction halted. The 1940s section was already well under construction and sat empty for years before Disney did anything with the existing building. In 2010, Disney started work on the Art of Animation Resort, which would take the place of the Legendary Years. They used the 1940s section as the Little Mermaid section of standard rooms in the new resort, which is why they're not suites like the rest of the resort's rooms. You can walk to both hotels' food courts within about 10 to 15 minutes and even take the bus transportation back from the parks to either hotel if you don't mind a bit of a walk. This is especially convenient if you end up in one of the rooms right by that bridge. You're nearly right in between both resorts' food and transportation, so you can take your pick and get double the amenities. Alright, so why are Port Orleans Riverside and Port Orleans French Quarter split into two resorts? This is basically the opposite of Art of Animation and Pop Century. These two resorts were supposed to be separate but related and ended up becoming one very large resort. Port Orleans French Quarter was the only original Port Orleans resort. It opened in 1991. Later that year, Dixie Landings opened just next door. The resorts shared a management team and were linked through a backstory, but they were separate resorts, so you could take a boat or walk to get between the two. On April 1st, 2001, the resorts joined together as one Port Orleans resort with two parts, French Quarter and Riverside. Disney has never directly commented on the joining of the two hotels, but the original name Dixie Landings, the plantation-themed mansions, and the backstory relying on a slavery-era cotton plantation didn't really jive with modern sensibilities. Kind of similar to how Bob Iger spoke about Song of the South, it wouldn't necessarily sit right or feel right to a number of people today. Since they were already under the same management and shared a connecting backstory, it certainly seems a lot easier to put them under the same name rather than develop a new hotel concept. This change really just involves swapping the Dixie Landing signs for Port Orleans Riverside and dropping references to the cotton plantation. Now, what's up with those nightmare chairs at the boardwalk? The nanny chairs. Truly one of the most startling things you may encounter on your Disney trip, and these things definitely need some explaining. You may find these painted wooden chairs in the lobby or down a hallway at the resort, and you might think, why is there a creepy child chair here? Well, the Boardwalk Inn's design is inspired by Coney Island and the Atlantic City Boardwalk at the turn of the century. There's memorabilia from the time, including carousel horses, a replica of Lucy the elephant from Margate, who, by the way, you can now stay in as an Airbnb, and the nanny chairs. Nanny chairs would also be found on carousels, and it's where the nanny would sit while children rode the horses. The ones at the boardwalk are hand-painted replicas of original 1889 nanny chairs. There's actually 4 of them. You'll spot them in pairs, and they even have names, because of course they do. Carrie and Todd are usually in the lobby by the fireplace, while Alex and Paul are often found in one of the first-floor hallways. And the rumor is that they were named for Imagineer's children. After you've found the nanny chairs, be sure to head out to the pool for some more nightmare fuel. The Boardwalk Inn also has a gigantic clown slide, because this resort isn't a one-trick creepy pony. There are some less scary relics in this hotel, though. Down the hallway by the Bellevue Lounge, you'll find a mutoscope, basically a machine that worked like a flip book and was the precursor to modern film. Okay, so is it better to stay on-site or off-site at Walt Disney World? So that means, is it better to stay in a Disney World hotel or stay off-property in a non-Disney World hotel? This is one of the toughest questions about hotels at Disney, and it could definitely use some explaining. We're going to give a quick overview here, but we do have a full video that goes through all the pros and cons of staying off-site and on-site on your Disney trip. So if you're still deciding, check that out for some more info. Perks of staying on-site. If you stay at a Disney hotel, you'll get an extended FastPass booking window, meaning you can make your FastPass reservation before anyone else does at 60 days out from your check-in date. And you'll be able to make them for your whole trip at that 60-day mark. Everyone else needs to wait until 30 days out, and they have to book them day by day. You'll also get free transportation to and from the airport, as well as to the parks and Disney Springs. That includes buses that run about every 20 minutes, the monorail, boats, and the Skyliner. Many off-site hotels offer shuttles to the parks, but it might only be once an hour, though you can use Disney transportation to get around once you get on property. You'll also get a Magic Band for free, which serves as your room key, ticket, links your FastPass and dining reservations, and you can even make room charges with it. If you're staying off-site, you can purchase a Magic Band for convenience, or just use the ticket card you'll receive to get into the park and to tap into your FastPass reservations. With all that convenience comes a high cost, though. You can save money by staying off-site. There are tons of hotels around Disney World. Many are just off property, very close to the parks. And while you won't have the perks we just mentioned, you might save hundreds of dollars a night on your room. Hotels that are comparable to Disney's value resorts can go for $60 to $70 per night, while even the All-Stars rarely go below $115 per night with a discount. For higher level accommodations, there are plenty of deluxe level hotels that offer just as many amenities as Disney Deluxe resorts at a lower price tag. Even the Swan and Dolphin, which are on-site and right next to Epcot, are often $100 less or more per night versus the Boardwalk Inn just next door. But remember, there is a resort fee at the Swan and Dolphin, so they can nickel and dime you. If you're looking for luxury, we suggest checking out the Four Seasons versus the Grand Floridian. The Four Seasons is actually on Disney property and has a lot of the same perks, but you'll get a much higher level of luxe amenity than you will at the Grand for a comparable price. Another good one to consider for a similar price to the Grand, but higher level amenities, higher level luxury, is the Ritz-Carlton, also right on property. Consider the Good Neighbor hotels if you do stay off-site. There are more hotels that are in or nearly in the Disney bubble. Many of the Good Neighbor hotels are located right by Disney Springs. Some are even just a 10-minute walk away. Staying at these hotels gets you the same FastPass perks you'll receive from staying at a Disney hotel, the 60-day booking window, etc. They have on-site Disney concierge and offer transportation to the parks, though again, it may only be once an hour. There's a lot more we can say about on-site versus off-site, but this brief overview should help you to determine whether you'd rather pay for the convenience or save some cash and leave a little extra time for planning and travel. So I hope that's helped you. We have so many fun things to say about Disney World Resort hotels. We've got lots of videos here on the channel about hotels specifically. So go ahead and search and find some great information if you're trying to decide which hotel to stay in. Thank you guys for listening. Thanks for watching. This is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.